The role of a medical doctor is to align primary indications to formula disease patterns to restore natural function. A medical doctor, a herbalist, should never put themselves between the presenting evidence with any theories or assumptions or personal biases towards herbs or formula structures. It will always lead to hit and miss outcomes and mistreatments. Know that ancient formula structures are perfectly combined and measured to restore these natural functions, and there is only a limited number of ways that the body can do this, because when there is an obstructed disease toxin, an obstruction in the body, it inhibits a natural function and it will cause very structured primary and secondary indications. And it is this misunderstanding that has watered down this great ancient medical science. The app will help you understand formula prescriptions in this same manner. It provides a very step-by-step process to eliminate to come to the perfect formula conclusions. It came to me when I was watching the movie called The Imitation Game about this British mathematician who created this machine to break down German code. And because herbal medicine is a very evidence-based systematic model, it is a way to eliminate the formula structures, the incorrect formula structures, to come to the perfect formula conclusions. And it's kind of like the game Guess Who, where does your person have blonde hair? Yes. Then you know that you can take down anybody that doesn't have blonde hair. Does your person have glasses? No. So then you know that it is somebody with blonde hair and no glasses. And this is the same way that the ancient medical doctors before us prescribed herbal medicine. It's a matter of elimination to coming to this perfect formula conclusion. So let's now do an example on the app. So if we come into the menu, we see the herb and formula structures, which is all the information contained within the team learning modules, pattern identification, formula case database, and community forum and chat room. So if we click on pattern identification, there is formula identification and herb identification. So if we want to use questions, we go through formula identification, which has the questions, the abdominal, the pulse, and the tongue coating. So if we use the example that somebody comes in with a cold and flu, perhaps COVID, we ask the question, do you get alternating chills and fever? And then we confirm that in fact that this person does have alternating chills and fever. So then we come in through here and we click alternating chills and fever. And then we see which are the formula structures suggested for these alternating chills and fever. And then when we come through here, we realize there's a lot of Tri-Who formulas. We can click on this and look at primary and secondary indications, abdominal, primary, secondary abdominal, tongue coating, pulse functions, recorded lines, herbs and dosages. So let's say that we come through and on the primary indications that this formula actually in fact must have thirst. So we come through, look at this formula. This formula, in fact, must have no thirst. So through the primary and secondary indications, we can actually ask our questions to identify the correct formula conclusion. So let's separate these formulas. Let's come back up. We ask the question, do you have thirst? And they say, yes, we do have thirst. So we come through and look for thirst, large excessive thirst. And then we see that this person has a large excessive thirst with alternating chills and fever. And then we can check which formula structures are again available for us for these two confirmed symptoms. And again, we have 3 formulas, and then we can click on one of these. Let's go with the abdominal this time. So for the primary abdominal for this formula, they have non-responsive superficial pulsations from the umbilicus to the xiphoid process. So we know that this formula must have that. We come to the next formula. What's their abdominal? Their abdominal is a non-responsive hard sphere shape in the upper epigastrium. So we check their abdominal, we see in fact that there is pulsations to the xiphoid process. So let's break these 3 formulas down to see if we can get 2 or 1. So when we come through the app again, we look at pulsations from the umbilicus to the xiphoid process. Let's click that and see this person has thirst, alternating chills and fever, and pulsations from the umbilicus to the xiphoid process, and what formulas are available to us. So it's narrowed it down to 1 formula structure. So when we click on that formula structure, we again have all the primary and secondary indications, because you must have the primary indications first before you have the secondary indications. Then you have abdominal, primary, and secondary abdominal, because you must have these indications on the formula structure. Secondary always come after primary. And then the tongue coating, its functions, its recorded lines, what is under review, and the herbs and their dosages. So if this is the formula, we can click on that and get more information about the formula structure again. And then we can add the formula structure, comments about the case with pictures. So then this information gets sent to our database so other team members and students can actually learn. And if we come back to the herb identification method, so when you're understanding of herbs, the primary and secondary indications and basic abdominal, you will start to use this a little bit more often. So if you come into herbs, we've got the same case, alternating chills and fever. We know that we check their abdominal, they have responsive discomfort under the ribs, and that they're on the left guam position, it's floating and tight to wiry. So if you check pulse, you can check that as well, but you don't always need pulse. So we come in, we check the Chihu, come back, what formulas are suggested. Again, it'll give you the same formulas. First is the next best question to ask with Chihu formulas because it separates them equally. Come back in, we realize that in all Chihu formulas, the herb that must be in that formula structure for first with this herb is Tianhufen. So all Chihu formulas will have Tianhufen if there is thirst. So we come in and we click on Tianhufen. Again, all herbs are in the common name and pinyin name. Again, we've got two herbs and now we've got two formulas. And we know that this formula must have pulsations to the xiphoid process, which indicates muli. This formula has non-responsive hard sphere shape in the upper epigastrium, which indicates renshen or ginseng. So we check the abdominal, they have the pulsation, so we know this formula, this person must have muli in their formula structure. So then you come through again and we click muli, oyster shell, come back, same formula conclusion, click, go through the primary, secondary, abdominal, symptoms, tongue, recorded lines, under review, herbs, dosages, and then we can get more information about that formula structure. And again, we can send this case to our database. So as you can see, the app will deliver these clear evidence-based outcomes. And this is what is required when you are prescribing toxic herbal medicines, is to not only identify the correct toxic herb, but understand the exact measurements and dosages and combination of each individual herb, because the body will present with a story, a very structured way in which to explain to you or show you what natural function is inhibited and what is required to restore that function. And not only that, we have created a large database. So when you are prescribing these formula structures, you can send the cases to the database with photos, and then we can create more information, not only for other practitioners, but upcoming students of the team learning course. So it's very important.